Friday, you should have received a packet with a little bit of information about some revisions that Rebecca was able to do to the budget. There are still a lot of unknowns in the General Assembly. We do not know the governor's budget, the Senate or the House budget is going to be the one finalized, which we hear is going to be March 7th, which is this Saturday. We still do not know where anything stands with the proposal to raise the minimum wage. We did receive an email from the Virginia Association of School Superintendents lobbyist Tom Smith that it seemed to be that they were aiming towards $9.50 to $10 an hour. So we haven't gotten that information either. So what we have tonight is just some discussion added to what we had last week and how we proceed, and Rebecca has worked some number magic to see what we can do with the money that we do anticipate getting, and she used the governor's budget to do all of this work. Okay. So, Rebecca?
Right, as we talked about at our last meeting, when Melinda and I met with the city manager, she had requested that we get her something by March 6th, which is this Friday, which we're trying to honor her request and do that. So that's why we're going ahead and preparing a budget based on the governor's budget, and Mrs. O'Nice is aware of that fact. She's aware that we will have, we won't have final state revenues yet, and we will need to do some adjustments once they come in. So that's what we've done, and I basically just incorporated that many of the things we talked about at the meeting. The budget totals $12,232,911. This includes the $11,651,625 for general operations, $507,788 for the cafeteria fund, and $73,498 for textbooks. On the spreadsheet, I've compared the revised budget to the preliminary budget that we looked at. And the reduction there is $61,825. And that reduction is due to the fact that, I don't know if you'll remember, but last year the city gave us an additional appropriation to fund a special ed teacher. That was a one-time situation that they did that. So we reduced the budget by that $50,000 because the city manager asked us to do that. The other $11,825 is just a reduction in the amount that we're going to be paying to the cafeteria fund, and that's a reduction because, as we talked about, our preliminary budget included like a 10% increase for health insurance, and we actually ended up getting a decrease. So that was that freed up a lot of money in this budget proposal. So as Melinda said, it is based on the governor's budget, and I did use an average daily membership of $965, and using those figures, our state funds increased by 3.5%. Governor Northam's budget includes funding for a 3% compensation supplement effective not this biennium, but the next biennium. Not this year, not the first year of the biennium, but the second year. It would be effective 7/1/21. The Senate and House have both released budgets as well, but state revenues have not been finalized. The Senate budget includes funding for a 4% compensation supplement, just like the governor in the second year of the biennium, and a 3% one-time bonus effective in 12/1/20. The Senate budget also restores school construction funding, and the House budget includes a 2% compensation supplement effective this first year, 7/1/20. So if indeed some compromise came out of those and there was money for compensation supplement in the first year of the biennium, and we wanted to get that money, we would have to maybe adjust our budget if we wanted to collect that money. As you probably are aware, any compensation supplement is for SOQ funded positions only, and in order to get the supplement, we would have to provide the recommended salary increase. And so we'll have to do another budget revision once those revenues are finalized. There's a slight decrease in federal funds due to Title I. Actually, that's actually not Title I, that's Title II, sorry. And the city appropriation is reduced by the $50,000. The cafeteria funds requires a transfer from operations of $132,914, and the reason that's less than before is because, again, of the health insurance increase. Okay, in this budget, the preliminary budget included a step increase for all eligible staff. And with this revised budget, we included, in addition to the step, we included a 1% increase. That means we applied 1% to the bottom of all the salary scales, and then they adjusted accordingly for all the scales. Now, we do have some people that are not, they're topped out, they're not at the top of the scale, they're not on the current scale. There was about 10 teachers that when we revised the current salary scales, they were already above the top salary. So there's no increase budgeted for those people in this budget because they were already above the top of the scale, and even applying that 1%, they were probably above it. So there are people that would not get a salary increase as we have the budget right now. But that 1% added an additional $65,000 to the budget. We did increase the part-time guidance position at Edgemont to full-time, and that was a requirement at the state that be increased to full-time. And the literacy coach position has been transferred to full-time at Edgemont, and we replaced this position at CHS. And depending on where that person is that we hire, on the salary scale, that could cost about $60,000.
And that, I would just like to clarify that literacy coach position is not just Edgemont, it would be all three schools, Edgemont, Jeter, and CHS. So we'll just revise that a tad.
As we talked about last time, the Virginia College Advisory Corp Council position at CHS is being paid for now through the Garrett Virginia grant. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Yes.
That goes away next year, so the cost of that would be $10,000. That's in the budget this year.
And I'd just like to say about that as well, I have some information, some statistics that came from the director of that program about what Ms. Jordan has done this school year. But the other reason I'd like to include that position if we have the funding is because Gear Up Virginia has provided our school division some resources for the last 6 years, and they recommend or ask that each school division, each school board consider keeping that position for one additional year, just to make sure that the children are gone, but there's still reports and things. And I do think because Gear Up Virginia has been so good to our school division, I would like to continue this position. And I did check today with the director, Joy Pugh, and $10,000 is the cost for the local match. The Virginia College Advisory Corps would pay I think it's another $17,000 to $20,000 to get that position, and they're highly trained individuals. So I just wanted to share some more information about that.
I've also included a bus driver position. Right now, currently, we have a vacant maintenance helper / bus driver position. We had a resignation, and instead of filling that position, we filled that position with just a bus driver. So what I've put in this budget is that bus driver and then also replacing the maintenance helper position. And then I budgeted about $35,000. We do have some teachers that we know are retiring. We know do have some teachers we know that are not coming back next year, and that savings could be anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000. You see there are VRS rates, which are a slight increase from the current. We do have a small amount in our contingency fund. And as I said, the big savings that we had from the preliminary budget and this revised or this proposed budget is the health care savings, since we did get a decrease in our health care. And with that, I put on your tables tonight just a comparison of our health care rates over the last, I think it's 5 years. With local choice, they require you to pay the same, there's a sort of a minimum percentage you have to pay if you have 75% or greater participation, which we do. We have 114 people that participate in our health care out of a possible about 145. But there's a minimum rate, and if you pay that rate, you don't have to pay anything on dependent coverage, but for a single coverage, you have to pay a minimum amount, and whatever the amount you pay, you have to pay for the Key Advantage 250 and the 1000. And historically, we've paid more on the richer plan, the Key Advantage 250. We've paid more toward that plan. And so we tried something this year of just paying the same amount for whatever plan people chose, 250 or 1,000. For, not for single dual family, but whatever we pay for single for 250, we pay that for 1,000. Whatever we pay for 250 for dual, we pay that for 1,000. Whatever we pay for family for 250, we pay that for 1,000. So that's what we tried to do here. That will result in a pretty significant savings for people that choose the Key Advantage 1,000 plan. It could result in more people choosing that plan, I don't know. But we thought that was a fair thing to propose, and it looked like we had funding to do that. It didn't cost a significant amount more to do that. So that's what I think we're proposing with this budget.
And that did get approval from the TLC coordinator that we deal with, and while she did approve that, there's a few more questions we have about that, and we're going to propose those questions to her tomorrow. But she did agree that this could would work, does meet the requirements. We will start open enrollment after April 1, and we do have to get 75% of our employees to participate to do this rate proposal.
And I don't think that'll be a problem. And oftentimes, it's encouraged that you pay more toward the less rich plan to encourage people to take that plan. We've typically done it the other way, but this way we're paying the same. So we're kind of moving in the direction that's been recommended to us in the past. So I'll be happy to entertain any questions. I think we do need approval of something to submit to the city.
Yes.
And like I say, I think they're well aware that this is not a final budget.
So we would be just, I guess, asking for a motion to approve the preliminary budget to present at the request of council so that they can continue on their planning.
Yes.
And we would also be requesting a meeting with council to present our budget as well.
And Rebecca and I would also go and meet with the city manager sometime before that public hearing so that she could understand and ask questions. And I would like to recommend, which we did last year in March, a joint city council school board meeting prior to this, but we kind of proposed that the other day with her, and I don't know which direction we're heading, but that would be a good thing to have a joint meeting to ask questions. So this form, if you all agree to this, what you've seen tonight, would have to be sent to Mr. Bryant saying that this is our proposed budget and whether or not we plan to attend the meeting on March 29th at 4:30, whether we plan to speak, and it's due to him by 5 p.m. on March the 6th.
So the meeting on the 29th would be if we have some specific items that we're very passionate about, you may want to go and speak on those items so that council knows where some of this money is going to, the public knows where some of it's going to, and in turn we can also inform the public about maybe a program or something that we're working towards and gain their support, etc.
Yes. Yes, and I would
and it may be when we would have a final budget before that time. We might have a final budget on Monday.
Yeah, we may be able to update what we submit to them.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we will have to have one more public meeting, a public hearing before our final budget is taken to the city by April 1. And we may need to have a couple more budget meetings once we see what the General Assembly is going to do. And the minimum wage is, if that's passed, we will have some work to do.
Yeah, if a salary adjustment is passed by some compromise, or if a minimum wage increase is passed, all those things would impact our budget.
And we were not the only people being affected by it. That's across the board. So we're not the only entity that's facing that potential issue. So
it's March 29th. The form is wrong.
Well, March 29th is a Sunday.
Okay, then it's the 31st. He's got two different dates on there, so it's March the 31st.
Okay.
Sorry.
Before
I would have been standing up.
we entertain a motion, does anybody have any discussion or questions that?
So any other thoughts or questions about this recent revision that Rebecca has placed on the table, please?
If not, I guess we'll entertain a motion to submit this preliminary budget document to them for their continued work on the overall city budget.
So moved.
You make the motion?
Yes, ma'am. Second.
All
Rebecca?
those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?